Art is more than mere decoration. It is a window into the human soul, a reflection of our hopes, fears, and dreams. Throughout history, each era has birthed new artistic movements, shaped by the times, and yet timeless in their impact. Today, we embark on a journey through the evolution of art to uncover the stories behind some of the most iconic masterpieces in history. Art has existed since the dawn of humanity. Thousands of years ago, in the dim flickering light of caves, our ancestors first picked up tools to draw. The cave paintings in Lascaux and Altamira stand as a testament to humanity's primal need to express itself. These early artists painted the world they knew: wild animals, hunting scenes, and symbols whose meanings we may never fully understand. But as civilization developed, so did the complexity of art. In ancient Greece and Rome, art became more sophisticated, more focused on the human form. Sculptures such as the Discobolus and the Venus de Milo are examples of the classical period's obsession with ideal beauty. These artists didn't just want to represent reality, they wanted to perfect it. In marble, they immortalized the gods, the heroes, and, in some cases, the everyday citizen. These were not just figures of flesh and bone. They were symbols of the values that defined ancient society: strength, beauty, intellect. The Parthenon, standing tall in Athens, is more than a temple. It is a masterpiece of balance, proportion, and geometry. It tells us not only about the gods, but also about the human desire for perfection in an imperfect world. As the classical world crumbled, a new era began, the Middle Ages, a time often mistakenly referred to as the Dark Ages. But while much of Europe struggled, art flourished in the form of Byzantine mosaics and Gothic cathedrals. In these sacred spaces, art was used to inspire devotion. Mosaics, glistening in gold and precious stones, filled churches with divine light, reminding the faithful of the glories of heaven. In the West, towering Gothic cathedrals like Notre Dame in Paris stretched toward the sky. Stained glass windows painted biblical stories in brilliant light, bathing worshippers in a spiritual glow. These cathedrals were the marvels of their time, not only for their size and complexity but for their beauty. Art in this period was a reflection of faith, a glimpse of the divine. But in the 15th century, something extraordinary happened. In Italy, artists began to rediscover the knowledge and ideals of the ancient world. This period, known as the Renaissance, was a rebirth, a time when art and science, religion and philosophy were woven together into something magnificent. Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Raphael, these names have become synonymous with the Renaissance. Da Vinci's Vitruvian Man sought to understand the perfect proportions of the human body, while his painting, the Mona Lisa, has fascinated generations with its enigmatic smile. Michelangelo's David stands as a symbol of human strength and beauty, an idealized version of man in marble. And Raphael's fresco, the School of Athens, represents the marriage of art, philosophy, and science. It's a painting that doesn't just depict great thinkers, it embodies the very spirit of the Renaissance. This period was more than just a time of great artists. It was a time when the boundaries between art, science, and religion were blurred, when human potential seemed limitless. Artists were no longer just craftsmen. They were scholars, inventors, and philosophers. As the Renaissance gave way to the Baroque period in the 17th century, art became more dynamic, more emotional. The Baroque was all about drama, capturing moments of intense action or emotion. Caravaggio was a master of this, using stark contrasts of light and dark to create scenes that felt almost theatrical. His Calling of St. Matthew pulls you into the moment, as if you are witnessing the divine intervention firsthand. Baroque architecture, too, was designed to inspire awe. The interiors of churches like St. Peter's Basilica in Rome were filled with gold, marble, and intricate details. Bernini's sculptures seemed to defy the laws of physics, capturing movement in stone. Art was no longer just about beauty. It was about eliciting an emotional response, about engaging the viewer in a story. But as the Baroque period ended, a lighter, more whimsical style took its place: Rococo. This was the art of the aristocracy, filled with pastel colors, delicate brushstrokes, and scenes of leisure. It was art meant to entertain, to delight. Artists like Fragonard and Boucher painted playful scenes of lovers in lush gardens, surrounded by the elegance of their surroundings. Rococo was about indulgence, a reflection of the decadent lifestyle of the French court. But underneath the frivolity, there was a growing tension. As the 18th century drew to a close, the world was on the cusp of revolution, and the age of Rococo would soon be swept away by the storm of change. In the 19th century, art took two distinct paths. The Romantics, like Caspar David Friedrich and Eugene Delacroix, sought to evoke deep emotion through their work. They painted grand landscapes, storms at sea, and scenes of human struggle. The world they depicted was not idealized, but raw and emotional. Friedrich's Wanderer Above the Sea of Fog invites us to stand on the edge of the unknown, feeling both awe and insignificance in the face of nature's vastness. But as Romanticism celebrated the emotional, the realists sought to depict the world as it truly was. Artists like Gustave Courbet painted scenes of everyday life, often showing the harsh realities of poverty and labor. These artists were not interested in glorifying their subjects. They wanted to show life as it was, unvarnished and true. Toward the end of the 19th century, a group of artists in France began to challenge the traditional rules of painting. They were the impressionists Monet, Degas, Renoir. Rather than focusing on precise details, they sought to capture the fleeting moments of light and color. Monet's water lilies, for example, are not realistic depictions of flowers and water, but impressions of how they appeared at a specific moment, bathed in light. Impressionism was revolutionary. It was a movement that valued personal perception over objective reality. For the Impressionists, art was not about replicating the world, but about capturing the feeling of a moment. As the 20th century dawned, art was once again on the brink of revolution. Modernism challenged everything that had come before, breaking the traditional rules of composition and perspective. Picasso's Guernica, with its fractured forms, was a response to the horrors of war. Kandinsky's abstract works were attempts to capture the spiritual in art, while Mondrian's grids reduced the world to its most basic elements. And then there was surrealism, a movement that sought to unlock the power of the subconscious. Salvador Dali's melting clocks and the persistence of memory are perhaps the most iconic image of this movement, where dreams and reality blur into one. Today, art is more diverse than ever. There are no longer strict rules or movements, only endless possibilities. Contemporary artists, from Banksy's provocative street art to Yayoi Kusuma's immersive installations, challenge us to rethink what art can be. Art today is not just something we look at. It is something we interact with, something we experience. From the earliest cave paintings to the most cutting-edge digital art, one thing has remained constant: art is a reflection of humanity. It is our story, told through the eyes of countless artists across time and space. Art is a mirror, sometimes clear, sometimes shattered, always reflecting who we are. From the ancient caves to the modern streets, behind every masterpiece lies the story of us.